In our previous example, you learned how to set up JobRunner, and it also, of course, included our awesome dashboard, which is free in our open source version. Now I'll introduce carbon-aware job scheduling to you, and this is also really easy. But to do so, I'll start with an intro into scheduling just normal jobs with JobRunner. Earlier, I showed you the example where we have a service with a method, and that's the method that we want to run as a background job. We instantly launched those jobs in our previous example, but now we want to schedule them in the future. So what I'm going to do now is schedule these jobs in the future and then change the example to carbon-aware job processing. So we first create a date, local date.now, and now I say, okay, I want to schedule this, and then JobRunner asks me, when do you want to schedule this? And so I say today at, for example, time 17 o'clock, and then we have exactly the same thing. So we say, hey, schedule this job today at 5 p.m. and then with the same method as earlier on. If I run this, then the job will not be enqueued and start processing it, but instead it will be scheduled. And you see it's now scheduled at today, our time zone, the time zone you're in, at 5 p.m. But now let's change this to a carbon-aware job. To do so, we need to do two things. We first need to enable carbon-aware job processing in JobRunner, and then we need to schedule the job carbon-aware. So let's dive into that. So the first thing I'm going to do is change our configuration, and to do so I'll first use the standard background job server configuration, and then I say, okay, I want to enable carbon-aware job processing. So we say using standard background job server, using carbon-aware, standard carbon-aware job processing. And then there's one important thing that you need to enable or configure. That's your area code. And your area code is the region where you are in, where you're located, that we will use to have the correct forecast for where your job, your server is running, and thus where we can minimize impact, carbon impact. So since I'm running in Belgium, I just say and area code Belgium. There is a complete list of all the supported area codes on our website also. So now that we have enabled carbon-aware job processing, this is the only configuration that you need to do. Then we just need to schedule the job carbon-aware. And how can we do that? Well, instead of this part, I just start with carbon-aware, and then we say at. And in this case, yeah, I want to schedule it at the same time as before. So today at 5 o'clock again. But to enable carbon-aware job processing, we need like a margin before or after that we can use to have like the best moment with which causes the least amount of carbon, and that's what you need to configure here. So I need to pass in a temporal amount or a duration with the margin before and after that the JobRunner can use to schedule the job at the best moment. So if I now put, for example, duration of hours 3 here, it means that the job will run at the earliest at 2 p.m. this afternoon and at the latest at 8 p.m. So we give it 6 hours of range, and this will allow us to schedule the job at the best moment. So let's run this. All right, it should be up and running. Let's have a look again, scheduled. What we see here now is already one important thing. You see the leaf here. It means that this is a carbon-aware job. It will be scheduled at the best moment. And if we then have a look at this job, we see that it first was pending, so we scheduled it initially with a new state called pending, and then it's scheduled at 2 p.m. Belgium time, and that will be the moment where we have the least amount of carbon impact. And if you do not believe us, well, there is this really nice graph where we show when the best moment is. And here you can see all the different moments for Belgium time where the least amount of carbon is being generated when you want to run your jobs. And in this case, for Belgium, it's 2 p.m. this afternoon. And this is how you do carbon-aware scheduling in JobRunner.